everyone, Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur. You can also follow the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur fan page, and you can follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, so hello, Melanated Brown, Pure Black, Desmond, Vivian, JB, Pearly, Trisha. All right, Vince, I am from the UK, Cherokee Descendant Dale, Nessie X. Okay, so let's get into it. Tracy Joyner, Michael M, Melanated Brown, Asha. Thank you, Shirley, for your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Alice is in the house, October, Moni Hunt. Okay, with that all being said, hey, Earth and Stacy, let's get into it. Shout out to everyone in the chat, everyone tuned into the Queen. All right. Now, the nefariousness continues, beloveds. Now, listen to this. A teen is accused of shooting his dad during an argument over his bedtime. He's locked up right now, just so you know. And this happened in Forest Park, Ohio. So I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this. But they say a 15-year-old boy is charged with shooting his father over his time that he's supposed to go to bed. And then he fled the state with the car that he stole from his dad. The gun will remain locked up at the Hamilton County Juvenile Youth Court Detention Center, at least for now. They're not giving his name because he's a minor. He's in the 8th grade, all right? 8th grade, shot his father. He was arraigned Monday morning on charges of felonious assault and auto theft. His defense attorney, mother, and older brother all asked Hamilton County Juvenile Court Magistrate Elizabeth Ego to release him. So let's get into it, honey. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Cody Fisher is live right now with what we know. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Within the last hour, Forest Park police confirmed that a teen shot their dad once in the stomach last night, right around midnight, or I guess early this morning, right around midnight. And that person who was shot is expected to be okay. But right now, it's still unclear if that teen has been arrested and is in custody. We're still trying to figure that out. But what we do know from the 911 calls is just that we obtained earlier this morning is just how urgent those callers were after the shooting.
My stepson shot my husband.
Where are you hit at?
I was in the stomach. I don't know. My left leg is out.
Stomach and left leg?
Please help me.
Now, again, what we do know, according to police, is that person was shot only once in the stomach. Again, in that 911 call, it sounded like if he was shot multiple times, but it was indeed just once in the stomach. They were taken to the hospital. They're expected to be okay. As for that teen, we're still working to figure out if they've been arrested in connection with this shooting. We do know that there was a canine search for this teen early this morning, but we don't know how fruitful that search was. As soon as we find out, I'll let you know. Reporting live in Forest Park, Cody Fisher, Fox 19 now.
Clearly a thug. Clearly. Now, this 15-year-old shot his father because he didn't want to go to bed. Are you serious right now? And they said they didn't know if he had been arrested. Well, he was arrested. He was absolutely arrested. And so let's talk about the rest of it. So his mother, and like I said, his attorney want him to be released. Well, the father didn't want him let out. His attorney wanted the teen turned over to whichever guardian is able to take him in today, and noted that it was his first contact with the court. Okay, it may have been his first contact, but it was for shooting somebody, his father. Okay. So anyway, the teen's older brother agreed telling the magistrate, we just want him to have a good environment around him because he is not a bad kid. People get on my last nerve when they say that. What do you mean he's not a bad kid? You mean a good kid shoots their parent for telling them that they have to go to bed? I don't think so. All right. They say he may just have had some issues that he was going through, but he's not a bad kid at all. Yeah, his issues that he was going through is being defiant and not wanting to listen to authority. So his mother requested that he be permitted to return to her home in Lexington, where police arrested him Thursday, hours after the shooting, and they recovered the gun. But the teen's father was firm that he couldn't return to his home. And I don't blame him. Honey, you can't come up in my house after you shot me. Please. Now, the teen went there 6 months ago at his mother's request. Now, I want you to pay attention. The mother and the brother are acting like this kid just had some issues. He's not a bad kid. And the mother wants him out. That's her problem. You see, 6 months ago, when she requested for him to go and stay with the father, more likely than not, it was because she can't do anything with him. Now, I want you to pay attention because there's a lot of cases where Black women coddle their sons and just let them get away with all sorts of things. And then when they get out of control, they want to send them to the father. And then when the father tries to bring down the gavel on them, the mother still wants to baby them. This is what this sounds like to me. Because if he was such a good child, why did you request that he go and live with the father? Very interesting. I think he's just bad as hell, doesn't want to do what he's told, and his mother couldn't control him. He's 15. I'm sure he could whip his mother's butt if he wanted to, and he's likely tried because you shot your own father. So anyway, the father says he can't stay with me, Your Honor. It's pretty much self-explanatory to see where I'm at. This is what the father said as he was on camera in the Zoom meeting. He appeared in the hospital room with medical equipment where he is still recovering from the shooting. He says, I feel like these little problems have been popping up and up, and I feel like it's a slap on the wrist if you let him out right now. So the father wants him to stay in jail. That's where he needs to stay. Let him stay in a juvenile detention center. Why would you let him out or want him out, the mother that is? Why would she want him out right after he did this? He needs to be taught a lesson, okay? That's what you don't do, is go and bail them out as soon as they get in trouble, honey. You don't do that. For those of you who do it, it's not the right thing to do. That only leads to them doing more things and getting in more trouble with the law because they just think that you're going to come bail them out every time they have an incident. So anyway, it goes on to say, Magistrate Ego said that it was not possible to release the teen to his mother because she lives out of state due to the nature of the case. Well, good. Let him sit in jail. She said the only way she would consider releasing the teen is if there's a plan with a place for him to stay in Hamilton County. His mother said his late grandfather's wife might be a possibility. His late grandfather's wife? Good luck with that. Now, you think some elderly woman who's not even his maternal grandmother is going to let him, this thug who's out of control, his mother can't do anything with him, the father obviously can't either because he shot him, and he's going to come stay with her? Please, that's not going to fly. She's clearly desperate at this point. Ego set a hearing for later next week on Tuesday, May the 24th, to give his family and attorney an opportunity to return to court with a plan. Forest Park police say that the teen shot his father once in the stomach on Wednesday. He fled the home on Holgate Drive before officers arrived. Forest Park police say the teen then stole a vehicle from a local business. I thought he stole it from his dad. He stole it from a whole business. Drove over 100 miles to get to Lexington. Forest Park police knew that he was heading to his mother's home and were in constant contact with Lexington police until the boy was in custody. That's what Lieutenant Adam Pape said. Now, it's still not clear where the teen got the gun from, according to police. Well, he's a thug. There's no telling where he got it from. Somebody on the street, no less. He may be in a gang for all we know. We believe him to be a substantial flight risk and would prefer that he remain locked up. Hamilton County Assistant Juvenile Court Prosecutor John Holvenick asked the court to hold the teen due to the serious nature of the charge. They say there are allegations of a firearm being involved, serious physical injury involved. Your Honor, if the court were to release the defendant to the state, the state would have concerns that he may have access to weapons. There were allegations that he fled Hamilton County after the incident, and you even heard from the prosecuting witness of the victim in this case that problems keep adding up. His mom said that her son really doesn't have any family in Ohio. He was there to live with his father. I just needed a man at the time to be in his life. because she couldn't do anything with him. That's what it was. Pay attention. Now, the full details of this case have not been exposed, but he has no family support in Cincinnati, none. He doesn't know any children there. He knows no one besides his dad and mother. That's his stepmother. I have not been contacted by anyone from that family at any form, from any form of support. That's what the mother is saying. Now, the magistrate asked the teen what he wanted to say on the issue of bond. He responded that he would like to be bonded out. They say anyone who uses guns to hurt others should be locked up, period, especially those who have proven themselves to be a flight risk. This is what Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieter said in a statement. Now, there is an attitude that juvenile offenders should never be locked up because they are minors, but we have an entire family specifically designed, an entire facility specifically designed to house violent juvenile offenders. If someone who shoots their own father and then flees the state isn't suitable to be detained there at the youth center, then who is? A good question. Now, the Hamilton County Juvenile Court Youth Center in Mount Auburn has 160 beds, but the county only funds it for 80 beds and has for quite some time. This is all they've been able to afford. So as of Monday, 72 youth were housed there, which she says is down from the population census that they have on average. It's also important to note that it is not uncommon for the court to exceed 80 youth in our daily population, they say. Honey, tell y'all something. This kid is a whole thug, okay? That's just what it is. Just a whole thug. Robin said he needs to stay right there. Yes, absolutely. I mean, why do they want, his mother has to be clearly crazy. She wants him out. She should fear for her life. Now, if he shot his father, do you think I'd want him in my house? You shot your father not because he was abusing you, neglecting you, not feeding you, doing anything nefarious. He wanted you to go to bed, likely so you get your butt up and go to school the next day on time. There's rules. Whatever the reason he told him to go to bed, it's his house. These kids think they're too grown, think they can do whatever they want. They don't have to answer to anyone. Well, if you feel that way, go get a job and get your own place to stay. Some of these kids are just off the chain, honey, and it's just getting beyond ridiculous. Wow. Vince I Am says he will be the next lone shooter as that's how it starts. Okay? It's terrible. Terry Hinn says, oh, well, let them double bunk. Exactly. Keep him in juvie. That's where he needs to remain, honey, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, now let's talk about this teenager who had a stroke at school. He had a stroke at school, and as he was stroking out, the school nurse called his mom to come pick him up, and the mom was telling her, he's having a stroke. Please call 911 so he can go to the hospital. The nurse is like, oh, he's not having a stroke. First of all, how do you know? How does she know that he's not having a stroke? And the mother's sitting there telling him that he has a condition which makes him predisposed to having strokes. Okay? I would be suing the school, honey, and that nurse specifically. So I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone. Judah Queen said it's the venom. It could be, honey. I would put it past it.
It took almost an hour for the school to respond.
Boston 25 News reporter Wale Alayu live for us at Henderson Inclusion School. And Wale, this mom says no other student should go through this.
Yeah, noting national research, Vanessa, proving racial bias in medical treatment. Mom questions whether or not race played a factor in the nurses here at Henderson School not believing them, telling the nurses her son was having a stroke. Now she wants to see both nurses reprimanded and retrained. After 3 strokes, Alicia Hicks would rely on her able-bodied son to get her around. Now the 17-year-old also has trouble walking for the time being after suffering his first stroke last week. When Hicks got a call from the Henderson Inclusion School nurse, she tried explaining what was happening.
There's a small vessel problem in our brain on my mother's side of the family that causes us to stroke easily if there's any blockage. It is so important that you get him to the hospital right away because he could die.
But Hicks says the school nurse didn't think it was a stroke and wanted her to come pick him up. Problem was, Hicks was home alone, sick, and not mobile.
Your professional eye may not see the stroke. It's not visible. But if he's telling you he's weak on the left side, please. And at this point, I'm urging her with all intensity that I could muster up with no voice. Please get my son to the hospital. Please, please, please.
They start arguing with her on that while I'm out here stroking out on the bed right now, trying to stay up because I was afraid that if I fell asleep or something like that, I was either going to go into a coma or probably for the worst.
The family says they went back and forth for 45 minutes with no 911 call. Instead, a call to the Department of Children and Families.
And then you could hear the other one in the background, the other nurse. Oh, call DCF.
After the DCF call, the nurse called 911. At the hospital, doctors were able to stop the stroke with medication. After staying 2 days, he's back home now, but hasn't been back to school.
He's not happy about the school right now. He doesn't feel safe there. In his words, when he was in the hospital, he said, I can't believe they didn't believe me.
And the school sent this note to the Henderson families that day saying paramedics were called to support a student having a diabetic episode. When we reached out for more information, the school told us medical privacy prevented it from saying more. DCF actually told us the same thing. DCF also adding that it is investigating the report. For now, that is very latest live in Boston tonight. Wale Aliyu, Boston 25 News.
Well, I'm glad to hear the child's doing okay after that experience. Wish him a full recovery.
That part is good, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't understand how that nurse did not know that he was having a stroke. When you're having a stroke, some of the symptoms that are common is you'll have weakness on the left side. You may have trouble holding your eye open, balance difficulties and things like that. You may be vomiting, have a severe headache, and those type of things. So she didn't know the symptoms. What did she think was going on with him? It's very interesting that she didn't think that it was necessary to call the police. And they're talking about investigating, right, October? Okay? Vince I Am said if he had a diabetic episode, they should have measured the level of sugar in his blood. Right. But here's the thing. The mother didn't say anything about diabetes, so that's likely a lie. He had a stroke because, as the mother said, they're predisposed to having strokes because they have a thinning, some type of blood vessel issue in their brains. Okay, that's on her mother's side of the family. She's already had 3 strokes herself. So clearly, that's just a common thing in their families. Sirius said she knew he was having a stroke. She may have known. Or both of them were complete idiots because it was actually 2 nurses. And then she said, the mother said, while she was on the phone, she heard one of the nurses in the background say, just call DCF or DCFS. Why would you call the Department of Family and Children's Services? Because someone's having a stroke and the mother wants you to call the ambulance. If I were his mother, I would have hung up that phone immediately and called 911 and told them to head to that school because my son's having a stroke. He's in the office with the 2 nurses and who don't know what is going on. I would have told them that, and I would explain to them the situation that our family's predisposed to that. Yes, Asha, slurred speech. That's another thing. You may have like a droopy eye or droopy side of your face, slurred speech, dizziness, can't balance yourself to stand up, vomiting, like I said, things like that, nausea, severe headache. All crazy. Vince I Am said she knew for sure. She had to have known for sure because I'm going to tell you something. My aunt had a stroke years ago, and my cousin, 2 of my cousins were with her. They knew she was having a stroke, and they're not even nurses, okay? They knew she was having a stroke. So please, if you're a nurse and you're that stupid and incompetent, honey, clearly you need another career because that's not it. So all I'm saying, if the mother says she wants them retrained, they don't need to be retrained. They need to be fired. And she needs to be suing them. I would absolutely be taking them to courts. I sure would. And I'd sue the school, too, for hiring those dumbasses. But anyway, let me continue. So with that all being said, let's talk about it because there was a Black student in Texas who was, in fact, suspended for his locks being too long. And this sounds very reminiscent of a story I covered 2 years ago with another boy in Texas. He was 16. I do believe his name was DeAndre Arnold. Yeah, that was his name. And he lived in Bellevue, Texas. Okay. Now he was denied. They said he wouldn't be able to walk in his graduation ceremony unless he cut his hair. They always have a problem with black people and locks, honey. Please pay attention to this. I mean, what is the Crown Act for if it doesn't cover these types of things as well? So, black Texas teen was suspended from school and told he couldn't attend graduation due to the length of his hair. Travion Gray, a black high school senior in the Needville Independent School District located in Fort Bend County, Texas, was first approached last December about the length of his locks as he was walking to gym class. Someone said, Travion, your hair is getting too long. You're going to have to cut it. That's what he said the assistant principal told him. And I said, ma'am, why would I have to? Why am I going to have to cut my hair? There are other kids literally with hair longer than mine, and it's all past their collar. So why are you talking about mine? The district's dress code states that boys' hair should not cover their ears, past their eyebrows, or over the top of a standard collar in the back when combed down, according to the document seen by Insider. He says, I was definitely targeted because of my race. I did not want to cut my hair because it was part of my identity. I've been growing them for too long, and it's how I choose to express myself in my culture. Yeah, and they know that. That's why they're messing with black people. That's why they want you to cut it. That's exactly what it is. Now, locks have been worn in culture stretching from the Middle East to Africa, where they historically represented strength, a spiritual connection, or the rejection of mainstream ideals, as Kyle Ring, the curator behind a popular hair-themed Instagram account, said. Gray was suspended from school in early March. With the help of his attorney, he was able to return to class, but is still pursuing a lawsuit against the school district. Now they had to pay money for an attorney. Isn't this just so stupid? I mean, I want to know what you all think about this stuff. What do you all have to say about this? Because this is absolutely egregious. Janet said, our antennas to the Most High God. Absolutely. Sirius says, don't go to their institutions. You know, I tell you all the time, you should be homeschooling your kids. These schools have been targeting black kids for the longest, says Meek Meek. Yes, absolutely. KK says, why not pin it up? Who wants to pin up? What guy wants to pin up their locks? And his locks aren't even long enough to pin up. They're not long enough to pin up. They're like literally right here. So I don't know why they're making such a big to-do. I mean, well, of course I do, because they're racist. That's why. But his locks aren't even long enough to pin up. Okay? Miho said most Vikings had locks. Honey, those weren't locks. That was matted hair because they were too lazy to comb it. So anyway, they love to try to say that they had locks too. Those were not locks, okay? Only black people can actually have locks. Anything else is just matted hair that looks like a broom or dusty old mop, as far as I'm concerned. Now, with that all being said, the teen said he was isolated from his peers during in-school suspension until he was later transferred to an alternative school in April. Additionally, he was told that he couldn't attend his graduation or other activities until he complied with the school's policy. He says, I was very depressed and sad. I've been waiting for this whole time to be able to walk across the stage because I'm ready to graduate. I've been ready to graduate for a long time. Then they told me I wouldn't be able to walk across the stage. And I was like, why? It was a shock. Black students have been advocating for Senate to pass a bill, the Crown Act, that would bar discrimination against a person's natural hair texture. Their calls come amid incidents similar to Gray's that students have faced in recent months. Now, earlier this year, the mother of a 17-year-old identified as Diary Williams reportedly said that after she and her son moved to East Bernard, Texas in February, they were informed that he could not enroll in school due to his hair. The school's dress code has forced her to homeschool her son. Desiree Bullock gave this information to the local news outlet. Now, like Gray, Camden Bradford, a young black teen who attended school in Mount Bellevue, Texas, was placed in school suspension because of his locks. Last year, a judge decided that Bradford School District could not take disciplinary action against him due to their dress code. In March, the House passed the Crown Act, which stands for Creating Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. If it is passed in the Senate, race or ethnicity-based discrimination against hair will be illegal across the country. Honey, why is this even a thing? Why are we even having this discussion? Why do they even need to pass a damn bill to say that black people can wear their hair the way it naturally grows out of your head? Do you see how racist it is in this damn country? Like, it really gets on my nerves, honey. I wish somebody would tell me something about my locks. Okay, the devils are such haters. I mean, they don't want you having your hair in its natural state because they do know that it is, in fact, your spiritual antennas, and it gives you mental strength. Hence the allegory in the Bible of Samson having his strength in his hair. Okay? They know these things. Yes, King Lejeune said haters. That's absolutely what racists are. All racist people are haters. That's just what they are. And that's what we should call them from now on, in fact, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, Aboriginal woman says they're so jealous. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, RG350 says, yes, he did, Queen. This is also crazy, honey. But this is what they do. This is what they do. They make the rules, so you either have to comply or just go through the consequences, suffer the consequences. That's how that goes. Trisha says, these people are living in mostly white communities in Texas. It really doesn't matter where you live in Texas because Texas is racist collectively. The whole state of Texas is racist, honey. I mean, it just is. It really doesn't matter what community you live in. I don't know if they live in a white or a black community. Texas is racist, period, bar none, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, where was Gloria Bambo, the girl who was 20 years old and was killed by her white roommate, and they won't even say his name or give any information on him. And then they said that, oh, it was ruled a suicide. But the girl was hanging in a garage for 3 days in the middle of July, and no one smelled the gases emanating from her body, the decomposition. No one noticed anything. And then he suspiciously called his mother, who lived out of state, had her come in to help him clean up and all that stuff. Honey, please, I could not. Texas is just racist, period. That's just what it is. Bivlin said the entire state, yes, you couldn't pay me to live there, honey. That's what you couldn't do, okay? Absolutely not. So, anyway, Pink Love Jessica said it's only hair. Well, not to them. Not to them. They don't want you to have your hair in your natural state. That makes you seem to them as a non-compliant black person, a militant black person, a black person with knowledge of self. And that's the last thing they want you to have. That's why they try to lie about history, deny anyone teaching, stop anyone from teaching CRT, critical race theory, and all the other things that they do. That's what it is. It's a concerted effort to stifle black folks and to keep black people from knowing who they are and from whence they came, and from also having a spiritual connection, not only to the Most High, but to their ancestors and just knowing things about themselves. Okay? So anyway, it's just all too much. GL said, not an allegory, but the truth. Honey, the story about Samson's locks on his head is absolutely an allegory. Okay? You don't get physical strength from your hair. You get mental strength from your hair. It's our spiritual antennas. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And if you don't believe it, then prove me wrong. That's all you have to do. No need to debate. All right, so with that all being said, everyone please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur. You can also follow the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur fan page, and you can follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. With that all being said, I hope to see you on the next chat starting at 10 a.m. on the original channel, because we're going to talk about these students who are so racist. They put up black and white signs over the drinking fountains. I thought this was an old story because I reported on this same story a few years ago. I believe it was on Facebook. But no, it's a new one. They're still doing it. So pay attention. Also, a correction officer posted a vile Facebook post about the shooting in Buffalo. And so he's been suspended. And also, you hear the 911 call from someone who actually, or not the call itself, but you're here what someone said happened to them, a survivor of the Buffalo shooting, when they called 911. So everyone get the likes up, please like and share, and I hope to see you all in the next chat. Until next time, beloveds, peace.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dupes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books.